Okay, this is from Mason. He always asks me what cam did I put in it. This is a CS295 TH107 BMT Thumper comp cam. Says advanced duration 0.050, 243, 257, lobe, SEP 107, valve lift 0.5, intake, and 0.485 exhaust. So that should have been intake 243, exhaust 257. Serial number F5880425. I think that's everything. Got all my paperwork there. Here's my camshaft. So, I think I'm going to get prepared before I do that. Put that in there. I'm going to need to have some. Got some cam lube, but I'm going to need to have a bolt to go in the end of that to push it in there. Okay, so and I'm also going to. I've already lubed all these journals, but I'm going to lube them again for good measure. So I think I'm going to turn the camera off and find the bolts. I'm going to need some long bolts to go into the shaft to hold the shaft with. I think I got some right over in that box over there. I'll turn y'all off while I look at that. So one of the things I've noticed is once you get this stuff all over your hands and all over the shaft and you're holding it and you can't let it go, your nose always starts itching. Okay, here's what we're shooting for. There is a tiny little circle. Let me get my knife point out because it's kind of hard to see. There's a tiny little circle right here on this crankshaft gear, and there's a circle here. Now these two circles need to be facing each other when the timing chain goes on. Now, luckily, see that the timing chain has to come off in order for me to, not the chain. The chain isn't on there, but this gear has to come off. The timing chain has to go on there. It has to hook up here. This has to sit in that, and then it has to go back on. And these 2 points need to be facing each other. Let's see if I can actually do that. I've got a little dirt in the floor here. I'm going to sweep out of the way because I want to sit down on the floor and get eyeball level. That right there. Let's see what I can find for a box. Move it out here into the sunlight so that I can sit down with it on clean floor. Okay, now there's my pin right there, and it's in exactly the right spot. So I'm gonna stick this bolt into here. That's in the right spot. That way I can pull the bolt and push the pin, kind of like that. That is how it's gonna go. Now I should have 3 timing chain bolts to go in this. This is that part where I need to go and hunt up the bolts, the proper bolts for that. That's how the timing chain will go. Now I'll bring you up here in the sunlight again one more time. Well, look, there's the 0 right there on this one, and there's the 0 right here on this one. These two, you can see, are perfectly aligned. So I'll put these 3 bolts in here, torque them down, then we'll put the timing chain cover over this and put the bolts in that. And I'm going to need those bolts, and they are, when I took the last motor apart, I bagged up all the bolts and things in a special place. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the bolts that came out of the old camshaft are still in the end of it. So that'll make it easy. And then these are going to be what the timing chain cover bolts will look like. And what I may do is just take that one with me out to the back there where I'm going to be going to get that. I'm going to turn you off while we play with that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this seal in this timing chain cover. It goes in with the open side down, or to the inside. And basically the way you get it in here is you set it on top, you get it real level, and you very gently just tap it with a small hammer. Very gently. It's pretty easy to get one of these in a little sideways, which causes it to bind up. And that's not what you want to do. You want to go very gently, very evenly. It's also pretty easy to do that. I'm going to put a little bit of slippery sauce on the edge of it. I think that's good. I think that's good. Okay, so now what I'm going to need to do is go down and get the nuts that go around the edge here. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'm also going to put the gasket on here after I get the nuts. So I'm going to go back to my cabinet down back. Some of y'all watch a lot of my videos. Maybe some of you don't, but if you would have seen it, there was a day when I was down here, you know, putting everything in this cabinet down in this other garage down here where the Studebaker is, and I'll show you right where I'm going. About 3 engines that's been taken apart in here. I'll put the light on. But the one that's got all the important nuts that I wanted to be able to locate is going to have everything in these little containers like this. See, there's a crankshaft and all these parts are engine parts. Let's see. Let's see what's in this power rack. I think I counted out that I needed 10, right? Now I can tell because this is in here that this is probably going to be oil pan bolts here. Although it could be a combination of oil pan bolts and time and chain cover bolts. Let me go get that one that I brought down here. Just look at. So this is the one that I brought down here to look at. What I might do, see that looks like it with a washer. But what I might do is take all these up there. These are either going to be timing chain cover bolts or they're going to be oil pan bolts. Now these are neither. In fact, this bolt here is the bolt that goes in the end of the crankshaft. So I know we're kind of in the neighborhood with that. These ones are probably another set of cam bolts. These ones are exhaust manifold bolts. These are intake manifold bolts. These are starter bolts and probably bolts that hold the flywheel to the torque converter. And there could be some engine to transmission bolts there. This right here is, I've got lifters, I've got main bearings and rod bearings. Those are main bearings, the rod bearings are on the rods. Yeah, these are main bearings here. So it looks like this could include the bolts I'm looking for. I also might have some in that little glass case. Let's take these ones up there and just see what we got. I think I might have gotten some. I ordered a new one-piece oil pan gasket. I've actually got a new oil pan coming, and I think that gasket may have come with oil pan bolts also. I got a pot of ham and beans in there on the stove. Put an Instapot on this morning before I started working on this. Let's see what I got over here. Yeah, I've got these bolts that came with that new oil pan, and these are going to be an additional set of oil pan bolts right here. And these are the big ones. You're going to have big ones on either side, in the front and the back, I do believe. And then you've got these little funky washers that go with that. So let's see what we got here. I'm going to pull this back off. We'll let's see what we got here. Alright, I believe these are going to be my timing chain cover bolts. We'll know in a minute. I'm going to put them all in here. Alright, let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I got these 4 big ones. I'm betting these are the oil pan gaskets. These go on that. So these are the big gaskets. Now, if I let's try see if these fit here, and they do. I got these two, which are kind of a little different. Now, when I got this engine from Todd, some of the bolts that were in here were different. And I took them out because they had funny little heads on them and I didn't want to use them. So what I seem to have here is a set of oil pan oil pan bolts with washers. And I've got these, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got enough of these for the oil pans, but these may be the same. Although I might want to look a little bit more just for curiosity's sake before I do anything. So I'm going to turn y'all off and do a little exploration. I'll be right back. So I think what I'm going to do here is just put this on, and I'm putting these bolts in here to make sure the holes are all lined up, and I'm going to press it on here real good. I'm just going to walk away, let it sit. Like I mentioned, I made a pot of, we had some leftover ham. We had a dinner that was Robert put together for the dance people. And it was back during the time when a lot of people came down with the flu, and so he made a huge amount of ham, and a lot of people just didn't come to the event because so many people came down with the flu. So we froze all that ham, and what I did last time is I took out a pretty good little bit of it. I broke it up into 2 bags in the freezer and took half a bag, and I made a ham and bean soup or stew or whatever you want to call it. And then I took the other half today and I made it again. I put some onions and some celery and some beans, obviously, and some carrots, and I'm sure I put some other things in it. And we let it, we cooked it in. I've got an Instapot, so that's kind of like a pressure cooker if any of y'all are familiar with those things. This is going on here pretty nice. I may just snap the cover right over it and screw it down. Once I clean up around the edges good. I could just take a little of this and put it on the back of the cover here. I wanted to put some on here anyway. I think I'll do that. I'll go ahead and dress this back side up with gasket stuff. But anyway, last night I made some tuna noodle pea. Tuna noodle pea is where I do the whole gluten-free thing, so I use, my baby buys these gluten-free noodles. So I cook noodles, and tuna fish, like a half an onion, a lot of chopped up dill pickles, some peas, green English peas. And we boil the noodles. I put the peas in raw and frozen because the hot noodles will basically, peas don't need to be cooked. They're you can eat peas raw. It won't hurt you. Actually, probably better for you than cooking the life out of them. But I cooked a plate of that last night, and we ate the whole thing. there was no leftover by the time we got through, and I thought, well, I ought to cook some more of that because Honey Baby likes it. And I ate a lot of it myself, so I could be sort of the guilty party that ate it all up anyway. So what I might do is just cook a little batch of that, and that way, if Honey Baby wants some of that tonight, she can have it. If she wants the bean soup, she can have that. This is her dancing day. She goes and helps out with the dance teaching group and does a lot of dancing with them and gets a lot of practice. They're working on some new dance moves after we went down to Atlanta to see the dance competition the other day. So she'll have a busy day and won't have a lot of time to do stuff. So when she comes home, I like to have the house ready, the dishes washed, the supper ready. You know, do all the things that I can. And I don't mind, you know, I actually like to cook. I kind of like washing dishes. I know we don't have a dishwasher. I'm the dishwasher. But I don't feel the need to avoid doing any of that kind of work because I enjoy doing it. So, yeah. So what I may do is, once I get this on, is go in there and whip up another batch of tuna noodle pea for the night. I'm just going to take this rag and go all the way around the edge of this and sort of wipe it down flat.
Honey Baby.
And then I'll take these bolts out. And we'll slip that right back into place.
I wound up in the sun here.
My oil pan is supposed to come today. I think the next thing I can do after I get this on here is I need to clean up the oil pump. I'll probably take it apart, clean it, and put it back together, and then install it. And then when the pan gets here, we can put the pan on it, put the oil filter over there, and might put the starter on it. Alrighty then. Might be time to go in and cook. Let's see, my oil pump is right here, and these should be all the screws and nuts and bolts that go with it right here. So, yeah. We'll walk away from it for now.